Are we live? Cool. Good evening. It is June 13th, 2024. Welcome to the Kaysville City Planning Commission. We have two items on the agenda tonight, both conditional use permits, and looks like we have a complete quorum to move forward. I am Commissioner Lyon. I am the Planning Chair Commissioner, and we will move forward. Number two, any conflicts of interest tonight on any of the agenda items? Okay, we'll move past that. We'll move to number three, conditional use permit for a major B home occupation for Pipe Dreams Plumbing LLC located at 1782 Bentley Circle for Jason Hogan. And I'll turn time over to staff and we'll go from there.
All right. First of all, I want to know how the street really is spelled because the county has a different name. Like, it's either Bentley without an E, there's Bentley with an E. Okay, that's the technical, because I saw it spelled. It goes both ways, the mail still comes. It still comes, so that's good. So this is Jason Hogan. He lives at 1782 West Bentley Circle with an E or without an E, and it's 0.34 acres. It is a single-family residence, and it is zoned RA. His business, Pipe Dreams, as you can see, is right here in this cul-de-sac. As I dropped by the other day to take the sign there, it is a pretty quiet neighborhood, not too much traffic going through there. Pretty easy conditional use permit. He has no customers. He has no employees. He has one truck that he brings home with him and takes to work with him every day. And other than that, that is all he will be doing here at this home. And so staff is recommending approval for this conditional use permit for 1782 West Bentley Circle. And if Planning Commission wants to put any conditions that they see necessary, we have findings for recommendation right here for approval. So,
perfect. Thank you.
And the applicant is here.
Perfect. Does staff or do any of the commission members have any questions of staff? In my opinion, it looks like there's plenty of parking on the side for the applicant's vehicle. If there's going to be nobody, if there isn't going to be any clients or customers coming to the home, it looks like there's ample parking. I mean, I think this meets all the conditions within the code, so I don't see any issues. Does any
storage of any
kind?
Storage?
The applicant want to come forward? Yeah, please, Mr. Hogan.
Very small storage, like small tools.
And you do that in the garage?
Yeah, exactly. A third car garage. No major equipment.
Okay.
Dump trailers, tractors, none of that.
Yeah. Okay.
You just probably rent that and get it.
Yeah, if I need that, it's a day rental or something. Yep.
Okay. Will any further questions? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
I would entertain a motion then.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve a conditional use permit for a major B home occupation for Pipe Dreams Plumbing at 1782 West Bentley Circle.
Thank you, Commissioner Packer. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Keach. And we'll start the voting. Commissioner Packer.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
And that passes. Staff will be reaching out to you, and we'll go from there. Thank you. And then we have item number 4, conditional use permit for a greenhouse and nursery located at 1773 West, 200 North for saltgrass, land, and cattle. And we'll turn that time over to staff.
Thank you, Planning Commission. The property, as Commissioner or Chair Lyon mentioned, 1773 West, 200 North. The lot size is 9.6 acres, and the current use is agricultural and residential. It's zoned A5 heavy agriculture, which requires a 5 acre lot minimum. The applicant has requested a conditional use permit to allow a greenhouse and a nursery on the property. That is permitted by, by the zoning regulations for conditional uses. This is just an aerial view of the property, a little odd shaped, but there is a residence on site there, and this driveway that you see would serve as access for the nursery. And the applicant submitted this site plan that just kind of shows where they intend to grow items and then the location that they have picked for the nursery area and the holding yard. So in reviewing this, there also was a small amount of parking provided. As we would go through the next process of this with the business license, we would ensure that they would have enough parking. So the only condition that we're recommending with this, additional to what's already in code, is that they require, or excuse me, that they provide parking as required by the code. So we would, based off of our off-street parking code, I would classify this as less intensive commercial. And with the size of retail area they provided, they would need to have at least 11 parking spots. So I did want to just kind of set that as an expectation prior to the next phase. But as we go through, these processes, we do make sure that everything meets the code. So we are recommending approval for the nursery and the retail area. Findings of a recommendation for approval are on the screen, and the applicant is here this evening. We have Ivy here as well as Ian if there's any questions for the applicant.
Thank you, Melinda. Discussion? Do you want to have the applicant come up? What's the...
Doesn't hurt.
Okay. Why don't we have the applicant come up and we'll go from there.
Okay.
State your name for us.
I'm Ivy Thompson.
Okay.
I am daughter of Ian Harvey. He's one of the owners of Saltgrass Land and Cattle. And I own Twig and Twitter Landscaping. It's a low maintenance, low water, low input landscaping business, but I install lots of plants. And this would be a staging area for my landscaping business. There's a lot of plant material I like to use that most nurseries don't carry. And this would enable me to be able to get a lot of the plant material that I have not been able to acquire at this point.
Okay. Is the parking spaces that you'd have to, are you able to provide that on the site?
I did have a question on that. I hadn't been able to talk about this with Mindy. I think that 11 parking spot calculation is based off of including the in-ground plant area, and that wouldn't be retail space. So I'm wondering if that number goes down.
Okay. And I know because you completed the homes on the back side on that other street. Is the home still occupied?
The residential home is rented right now.
That's rented, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's...
And is there a greenhouse on the property currently?
There is no greenhouse, and honestly, this is going to be like a temporary setup. The family has other plans for the property, and I can't build anything permanent. So the biggest structure I'd be installing is a honey bucket. So.
Yeah, because I drove by the other day. I mean, I just live down the street. I drove by the other day, and I thought this was the sign out there for the plat for the residential going in on the east side. So I was like, okay, so the Harveys are going to be doing the residential. We're not going to have hay out there anymore. But I guess this is for the conditional use. So that's okay. So okay. Yeah, I mean, just on the parking issue, do you have enough room for parking? Are you going to be having, let's back up and ask the first question. Are you going to be having clients coming then to the property and meeting with you there?
By appointment only.
By appointment only? Okay.
Yeah.
That answers the second question about parking spaces. So, okay. It doesn't, I mean, in kind of my viewpoint, it doesn't look like it's a large, intensive landscape. You're not going to be like a J&J Gardens
No.
or a J&L that, you're not going to be.
Maybe 15 years from now, but not right now. And I wouldn't be able to do it here. Like, this is, as I said, a temporary spot, and I have to find a different place if I want to have a bigger operation.
So this is, yeah.
So will you have hours that are open to the public, or will you only be by appointment?
We had discussed 2 to 4 hours a week max open to the public, but for the most part, it will have to be by appointment only.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my question, because when it says the retail site, I was just curious if you could expand on that.
Yeah, so retail site, I'm going to have listings of plant material available on my website. Most of the people who would be interested are native plant enthusiasts who want to be able to attract pollinators or support wildlife populations. And I will have limited inventory. This isn't a big J&J operation. So I also have to arrange for help to be able to load trees if anyone wants trees, which is why I would have to have by appointment only, because right now I don't have any other employees, and I would have to bring in contractors to help me load trees if they're especially big. So by appointment only, we'll be picking up trees. I may be having open hours 2 to 4 hours a week max for like 2 months during the year if people want to come and buy perennials or annuals, but I'm not anticipating that much traffic.
Okay.
So is the retail that you're doing, is it really for your clientele that you're installing the property for, or are you hoping to attract some other attention as well?
Both.
Okay.
For the most part, most of the plant material will be for my current clients, but I am ordering in, as far as I know, trees that no other nurseries in this area are carrying, that I think I am connected with groups of people who would be interested in coming to purchase that material, and they would not be paying me for full landscape installations.
Okay.
Okay. Further questions of the commission?
So are we still looking then at the 11 parking spaces?
Well, so I based that calculation off of what was provided, which if that, so it said proposed retail and holding area.
Okay.
And so that was where that 7,000 came through. If the retail area was going to be smaller than that, let me go to this next slide. So really, we would just have them provide 1.5 spaces per 1,000 square feet. So if it, right, and this is kind of preliminary, but if it came back that they were only going to have 4,000 square feet of retail area, then we would just ensure that there's six parking spots.
So, and the retail area is where customers would be coming to look through material, right?
I mean, I would think, well, first I would, ask you to answer that question, because I don't have a definition of retail area or holding area. So the explanation from you would be helpful. But as I calculated that based off that 7,300 square feet, in my mind, it was kind of one and the same. And so I just used that to calculate it. Like the retail area and the holding area would be the same use, but you obviously
in a commercial setting, typically they count the entire envelope, whether or not it's inventory being held back there, because your clients may not go in the back, but that area is still counted on a retail building as square footage in the calculation for parking spots. The same.
Oh,
right. Like we calculate parking for Smith's Marketplace based off of the entire square footage of the building, not just the retail area. So it's all their inventory in the back and all of
That's
that.
the gross
that we
square
calculate
footage.
it.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so if if I want that full space, then it would be 11 parking spaces.
Correct.
But could I work with you so if I reduce that area on that map? I was just trying to cover my bases, but if I reduce the area, I could have smaller parking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, the one of the things I wanted to say is I don't believe our code gives us the ability to define the size of the nursery area or the growing area. So we would just work, right, this is getting permission for the use, and then we would work with you on those next steps of getting that business license and that final site plan submitted and ensure that there was adequate parking. So, there may be another category in our code that I could look at that would fit, since it doesn't seem like you're going to be open to the public. But additionally, if you look at the site, like I think if there were a need for overflow parking, I think vehicles could easily park along the driveway. So we don't require that a fire may require. I don't know. Do they have to have like a gravel area?
It's up to your parking standards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what your parking standard
Okay.
says. Because, I would say, it depends on the developer and the city.
I'll look at that. But yeah, we would just calculate the end total of parking based on that
And I'll go back
retail
and
area.
like Pack Farms out in Farmington, their parking area is just painted grass. And so that's, I think you could improvise here and be just fine.
You might
A lot
want
of
to
ag
repeat that.
businesses do that.
Yeah.
A lot of the agricultural kind of businesses
Yeah, they
just paint their
just paint
grass.
they just paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just say this, and I'm not, but most places like Pack Farms out on the west side of Farmington, they just paint their grass temporarily. You're going to be temporary. It's not you're not a large operation, so don't go paving over your lawn.
Yeah, thank you.
So I would look at but definitely make some stalls so people know where to park. So.
Okay.
But paint's cheap, asphalt's not.
Yeah, and it does say that parking areas shall be graded for proper drainage. Just at a quick look, I don't see any other requirements on our parking.
Yeah. Perfect.
I'm not sure if this is relevant or not, but is the right-of-way access here by the residential, is it wide enough to be able to support? Because you'll probably have a bigger vehicle that's coming in to pick up those trees. And do you have access for them to be able to get back out? Is it just like a one-way street? So do you have a right-of-way on both way?
Right. So the driveway that cars would be using, that's the driveway we use for all the heavy-duty farm tractor equipment to go in and out. And we usually do three-point turns over by that holding yard area to be able to turn around to go back out.
Okay.
I don't anticipate, I could have used better formatting choices, but in the bottom, there's a cul-de-sac where it says semis would be unloading. So my plan has been to have semi-trucks unloading down in the cul-de-sac area and to avoid them having to go through there.
Okay.
So I did just look at the next paragraph on that code. Let me pull it back up. So, and I seem to recall this from our temporary fireworks stand, but they've brought in gravel, which I think could qualify. I don't know if it was crushed cement. Don't we require that they have some type of a gravel surface? So there may be, you may need to bring in some gravel at a minimum to lay those spots down.
We're not bountiful.
Mix it with a little bit of cement, concrete, and call it good.
Right.
Get the recycled stuff.
I'm not going to have a materials test done, so if you tell me it's concrete, I will take that as concrete.
No,
Yes.
if you get the recycled stuff, it's already got the lime in it. It adheres to each other. So, okay. Any further questions on the commission? Any further discussion? Are we ready to hear a motion? Any conditions?
I'm excited for you.
Thanks.
Sounds like you have a really unique,
I am so excited. I found bristlecone pines. I can bring
pretty
those
cool.
in.
Love that her name's Ivy and she's
She's doing
selling
gardening.
plants. Yes.
You're like living your dream. It's pretty cool.
How long have you been doing it?
This is my first year. So I
Congratulations.
started last year in April was when I first applied to the state, so
Wow.
it's been good. And I was very proud of Kaysville City for passing the ordinances so y'all qualify for the rebate, because Layton is being stupid and not doing that yet, so good job.
Wow.
Rebate for what?
The-
Oh, the water thing. Oh, got it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I would make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit for a greenhouse and nursery for Nephi Harvey and Saltgrass Land and Cattle LLC at 1773 West, 200 North, with the stipulation that the parking be worked out with the staff based on the standards in the code for both the number of spaces and for the surfacing.
Thank you, Commissioner Summer-Corn. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. And we'll start voting with Commissioner Summer-Corn.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Staff will get back with you. So let's move on. Approval of the minutes from April 25th, 2024, Commissioner meeting. Has everybody had a chance to go through those? Any changes? And if not, are we ready to approve? If so, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the Kaysville City Planning Commission meeting minutes from April 25th, 2024.
Okay, have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, and we'll just do unified vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, other matters for to come for the Planning Commission? Staff?
So just a couple things. I have started this week meeting with various consultants about the small area plan as they're wanting to get a better understanding of what we want. And so that's been fun. I have a couple more meetings scheduled for next week as well. But the great news is that we offered our senior planner position to a gal named Ann McNamara, and she has accepted that. So we're going to work out a start date, but she, I think, will be spectacular. She has several years of work experience from Washington State, and she just graduated from the University of Utah with her master's degree in all things planning. So she's got some great work experience with local internships, and we're excited, and it'll be great to have another staff on board to help with all of the applications we have going on in our code enforcement, which has been keeping, and Mindy's been fabulous, but it's been keeping, it is, and evaluations are due, so, you know.
This is great timing.
Anyway, I'm very excited for, being fully staffed in the next couple weeks, and other than that, I just wondered if any of the commissioners that were able to attend some of the training wanted to share anything that they learned. I mean, it's been a minute because we didn't meet in May, but I know a few of you were able to attend some trainings in April and May. So thank you for taking your time to do that.
Get trained. That was the takeaway from the one I went to in St. George. I mean, it's interesting because all the bad examples of what not to do in a planning commission were brought out on the panel I sat through, and that was it was highly. I mean, everything. And there's planning commissions that don't have. There are definitely planning commissions that don't have policies and procedures. I'm glad we do. I'm glad that we follow those because Wilf and Brent Bateman ran that and brought out all the many things that can go wrong and do go wrong and get cities in trouble.
We like to stay out of trouble.
Yes.
And honestly, that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to having, being fully staffed is there's a lot of work on our ordinances that needs to be done. And I think we'll be able to tackle quite a bit of that with, and that'll just help all of us stay in line with what we're required to do and to not do. So that's great. Thanks for attending.
Okay.
And Steve, I think you had an announcement.
So this is my last meeting as Planning Commission Chair. I am moving to Texas. And so as of next week, I am gone.
Oh, next week.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I'll send you my letter at the end of the meeting. I didn't want to resign prematurely.
I think even a text would work. So we do have an advertisement for a permanent planning commissioner position to fill Steve's vacancy. And then both Wilf and Aaron's term expire at the end of the month, but they have both graciously agreed to continue serving, so we'll have them reappointed at the next city council meeting and then interview those applicants that submit. So if anybody is watching online and you're interested in being a planning commissioner, that you can just go to the website and submit an application. And okay, yeah, we are closing those applications tomorrow, and then the mayor sits down, and everyone who puts in an application, usually she and I meet with them, and then she just decides which individual they want to appoint. So
good. It's been a pleasure.
yeah, thanks for all your work.
Not hot enough here for you, huh, Steve?
No.
So back to government it is.
Back to government it is. Yep.
Wow, we're going to miss you.
Thank you.
Are you going to get involved in Texas?
You know, it depends. I mean, it's interesting. I'm going down to the city of Irving. I'm going to be running, I'm going to be a senior economic development person running all their small business programs. So it'll be interesting to get involved in that. They want to take more, they have their chamber runs all of their economic development, and the city wants to take more of a handle on it. So they're hiring more people. So it'll be interesting to see. It's interesting growth. They just announced 2 more companies coming in the city. They have, I think, 18 Fortune 500 companies in the city already.
So is this a new position that they're creating?
That's very cool.
You get to walk in.
I got to walk in and take it over. And this is CAT Machinery announced that they are relocating all of their staff from Illinois there. And so they've taken that jump, and then they've got a couple of their healthcare companies. McKesson is extending, is putting more staff there. Christus Health is there. I mean, it's amazing. And by the way, the Big 12 headquarters is in Irving. And so there, you've got like there's a huge business park over on the one side of the city, and the airport DFW is in Irving, and so we share that with that, and so it's interesting. It's a small city with a huge impact on.
Isn't that airport like bigger than cities? Like,
yeah, it's the one. It's closed, I think, 2 days a year. Every year, but it's open a lot. Wow. So it's a big airport, does a lot of commerce, and it's expanding. So a lot of that warehousing. So they're looking to expand. They're looking to grow their small business because of the growth and nature of small business. So they want one of the things I've been tasked with is assessing how many small businesses they actually have. They throw a number out they actually don't know, and then they want to get a revolving loan fund and start growing internally their small businesses to balance the large businesses they have and get that going. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a good thing for my wife and I say, well, we can do anything for 2 years, but we want to probably stay 5 and then see where we're at. Get my son. We have 2 kids. One who's going into be a junior this year. Get her graduated, and then see where my son is. Graduate him down there, and then see where we're at.
Very cool.
Good luck. It'll be great. You'll be missed.
Yes.
Yeah, we know right now we do have a couple applications for a meeting on the 27th, so plan on being here at 7 o'clock. For more fun.
It's always a good time. Planning commission is important. You should
Oh. Well, it has been very interesting, actually. Mindy said, oh, you should watch this show called Clarkson's Farm.
Oh,
and it's very interesting. So they're in England, and this
Jeremy Clarkson.
who's been a big car guy, decided he wanted to buy a farm and be a farmer. And anyway, the interesting part of it is that they've tried to work through all of these like planning commission approvals over there in England.
Well, he decided he could put a farm out in the middle of nowhere and not worry about any regulations.
Or put put a building out, and and it's been interesting as they've tried to work through like their version of planning commission.
And if you ever watch Top Gear, which he was the host of, I mean, they would do all kinds of crazy stuff. They take like a Ford Fiesta and they'd put like a V8 engine in it.
Yeah.
And then
This is a little more subtle.
and then they would go race it across Africa just to see if they could do it. I mean, and so that's kind of the mentality. I mean, Jerry Clarkson, he's hilarious. I mean, he's been on English TV for years. And so I think, and watching the farm stuff, it's been kind of the same mentality. It's like, okay, let's take a V8 engine and put it in a Bug. And then, he's kind of coming from the same mentality. Because anytime within cars, you can do whatever you want. And now he's trying to do this farm thing and realizing, like, all the environmental regulation and all of the
For me, that's
zoning,
the fun part, is just watching.
the layers.
He can't just go put a restaurant out there. He needs to have a car park or a parking
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So they have to go to the planning commission and.
The
same thing-
local council.
Well, the things that we have in opposition here from residents, they're the same
They're the
things.
same, yeah.
Across the country, across the world. So it's just been, I totally love it.
That has been the very interesting part. And they got permission to do a little retail store, but then they said you can only sell things from the local area, and something that was like 2 miles away because it was off across a boundary. They're like, you can't sell that. Yeah, it's interesting, and I think especially in Utah, but in the U.S., we're a lot more permissive.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and to put the parking lot in, they had to get permission just to get through like a 6 foot gate. So I just love that I understand exactly what's going on now. If I would have watched this 3 years ago, I would have thought it was super stupid. It all makes sense. I don't need subtitles.
He's a Yorkshire man. Okay. Ready for adjournment? A motion to adjourn?
Oh, Chris is ready.
I'm going to Lagoon. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It closes at 9,
So, Ivy, is your dad DeFi? Is your dad DeFi?